Right. So we're live.
Yay.
You wanna, yeah. Right. So I guess I can. So today's August 18th, Saturday, August 18th, and I'm here with Dan and with Fiz and with Matt and Faith and Grace, and not sure where Mike is, or maybe Mike is Grace. I'm not sure. Anyways. Yeah, so we can collaborate.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Right.
Yeah, I've been looking for Grace. Like, where is this Grace?
Yeah, and Sess has joined us as well. Hello, Sess.
Oh shit.
Sess is muted. But
Guys,
hey, there you go. Cool. So we were just we just were doing week 1 stuff, and I guess before we jump into week 2, maybe we can keep it short. But is there did Fiz and Dan, did you have any further questions about? I mean, probably you have lots of questions, but is there anything that we can answer quickly that will help you to hit the ground running on the rest of week 1?
You go ahead, Fiz, if you have any.
I'll go through first once, then if I have questions, maybe I'll ask next week, because currently I have not gone through well. So it's fine.
Okay, well, keep in mind that we are going to meet tomorrow as well. So I don't know, Dan, were you going to create an event for tomorrow as well, or?
I could do that.
Yeah, that would be cool. I've got to check my availability to join because I have some other pair programming I need to do. But yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to be at every session all the time. But yeah, anyways, I guess we can talk about that later. And yeah, so I guess if you want. If you have questions, just hit us up. We'll be at it tomorrow, and also be on Slack. And if I don't know what your guys' time is like during the week, but you've met another pairing partner that's going through the exact same homework at the same time. So feel free to meet autonomously as well. Like and yeah.
I do have one question real quick, if it can be done quick. I wanted to set up. Y'all were using Autotest or Guard? I forget.
Autotest.
Yeah, I prefer Guard, but some people prefer Autotest. I don't think it really matters.
Okay. So would it be really quick to set it up, or is that something that would take? If it's going to take a little while to set up on mine, I'd rather just save it until afterwards or something. But
well, I think that Faith already has it set up. So maybe Faith, would you mind sharing your screen and just like going to the week 2 stuff that you're doing and show like quickly how you did that, and Dan, you can go doing it in the background and let us know if you have any issues with that.
Okay.
And Sess, did you are you currently going through the course on a specific week of the course? Have anything to say, or just listening in, or?
oh yeah, I started the course mid week 1. Yeah, I watched the video for week 1. It was awesome. Great help, by the way. Yeah, that's all.
Cool. Have you done the week 1 homework? Sorry, I didn't understand if you had finished the week 1 homework.
No, I'm not done with week 1. I'm midway.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So I guess Dan and Fiz are both starting week 1 homework. So we haven't really done, I guess we didn't get as much done and we met an hour ago and kind of talked a little bit about Pry and some different things. But they're both in the same exact situation. So if you want to mob on it, I guess I'll leave it to you guys to organize and let me know. And if I can make it, I'll definitely will.
Okay, will do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and schedule one for the same time tomorrow.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
y'all are welcome to join if y'all want to work on homework 1 in a pairing
Cool.
session.
Nice. Awesome.
So
I'm really curious to see if this grows to where we're going to have like 5 different sessions per Saturday and Sunday. You know, like one for week 1, one for week 2, one for week 3. Whatever, you know.
Yeah. And then like, attend all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And then like we also have the advanced course as well. So in theory, we could have like 10 hours every Saturday and Sunday of just like. But yeah, maybe I'm a nerd. Anyways, go ahead, take it away, Faith.
Dan, I think can't remember installing this, but I think you should have the RSpec auto test on your gem file. So that's all you need, and run bundle. You have to install it.
RSpec auto test. Okay.
You have it. Do you have it?
No.
Okay. So
Let me see. In my gem file.
yes, in the development and test group.
I'll just add it.
Okay. Yeah. So run bundle, and then after installing it, you just need to run the command to run the test, which is bundle exec auto test.
Okay. Let's see. Let me get the
Nilikuwa nimeshafika tu kwa hiyo lami ama alikuwa ni before kwa nini
and just run bundle.
Yes, and then run the command bundle exec auto test.
So Dan, as well, like if and for Faiz and Sess, for you who are on week 1 as well, like if on the bottom of the first week's README, it has a link for guard and auto test, and if you click on the auto test link, that actually takes you to the Ruby gems for auto test. So I guess for those of you who weren't there, in the other session we were talking about using if you want to install a gem, just going to rubygems.org, and you can you can copy the link for the gem file, what you want to put in the gem file, and also you can click on like the homepage link or the documentation link and all that kind of stuff, and get more information about installing it, and we'll tell you about the dependencies of the dependency. So yeah.
All right. So now all the dependencies should be installed, and then to use it, you just run auto test.
Oh, okay. Oh, related.
Or do you have to like have an auto test file or something like that, or?
So I think what Faith said, she's muted, so I don't know if she's trying to repeat herself, but she was saying you want the. Go ahead, Faith.
I was saying, yeah, you just need to run the bundle exec auto test. You could, I think, yes, running auto test could also run, but you want to run any of your commands in a way that you've isolated. In case you have auto test installed globally, you don't want to use that because you already have it in your project. So that's why we add the bundle exec. But auto test itself should work.
Yeah. So does that make sense to you, that error that you're getting?
Block in replace in pass. Can't find executable auto test for gem Zentest. Zentest is not currently included in the bundle. Yeah. Okay. So I need to add Zentest.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it. The other thing is that like I do notice that like if you click through on that that README and come to the rubygems.org, it doesn't tell you to put the gem RSpec auto test. It just is gem auto test, and then I don't know, has a version number that I can't really see. But in that, like that will have Zentest is one of the dependencies of auto test. So potentially, if you change that, like that RSpec auto test to just this gem auto test and bundle it, then it will automatically install the dependencies like Zentest. So that might be easier, but I don't know. I mean, either way, I guess Faith has it working on hers. So.
Oh yeah, but I have
development
Zentest.
dependencies here. So is there a way to add this to the gem file to where it installs? See, because it's in the dependencies for RSpec auto test, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have
That's true.
Zentest? You don't have Zentest?
No.
Yeah, because I have it, so it means.
Do I need all this active support? Rake?
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
mean-
have Rake. I have Bundler.
Yeah, I mean the idea is that you shouldn't need when you run bundle. It should, if it's a dependency of the gem, it should install it. But
True.
I'm not sure if it could be that I don't know. You could go to the gemfile.lock and you could see what version of this RSpec auto test you actually have installed, because I don't think you told it to install a specific version. So it could be that, or you could, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It is
I put
1.0.0 now.
Let me see here.
Yeah.
So in
that's-
RSpec auto test, we have, so it's like installing the dependency for, what's it say on here? The
RSpec
runtime
bar.
dependency, but not the
Mhm.
development. I wonder if there's you can add to that gem file to get it to that. But anyways, let me just install Zentest, right?
Yeah, I mean that.
Or should I
probably
go here?
Right. To get it past, like it's telling you Zentest is not there, so you could add that Zentest, and especially since we have the feedback from Faith that so Faith, you're saying that you have Zentest in your
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, version 4.11.
Now, did you add that, Faith, or is that something that comes with the homework Sinatra?
I can't remember adding it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
So I
so
think-
it was in the. Okay, gotcha. It's in the homework for the next homework, right?
Yeah.
Homework number 2.
So it's
yeah.
kind of an optional thing that you can do for week 1 if you want like another challenge, or if you want to go playing around with things, which it sounds like you like to do. So then they kind of just leave you to figure it out on your own, like using those links that they sent. But then it explains it a little bit better in week 2.
And I didn't have to add all these gems because homework 2 has everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me try it and then.
Yeah, why don't you do that, and we'll get started on the other stuff, and just let us know if you get stuck on anything.
Okay. Thanks.
So yeah, I don't know, Mike or Faith, do you want to start?
I could start now that I have some feelings. Just.
Oh wow.
So. So.
I'm just gonna grab a coffee, guys, but I can hear you, and I'll be right back.
Okay. So we're in this spec where we want to display the word that somebody has guessed. And the tests want you to guess the word banana. And if you guess B and N, this is what you expect to be displayed. If you expect a word that does not exist in the word you're supposed to guess, you expect a dash, dash, dash. And then...
Hey, just real quick, sorry, not to cut in. So for Faiz and Sess and Dan, I think knows what's going on. But so this week too, we're expected to build the popular game Hang Person, or some people used to call it Hangman. Are you guys familiar with this game, or?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Cool, awesome. So you know kind of how it works, where you initialize, like the game's initialized with the word, and then you go guessing letters.
Yeah.
And if you don't guess within a certain amount of letters, they hang you. Seems quite a harsh punishment, but I guess people take their English classes very seriously. I don't think it's a hangable offense, but whatever. Cool. All right. Sorry, Faith. I just want to make sure that.
Thanks.
Okay. So, yeah. And then this one, I didn't quite understand how when you guess B, A, and N, banana should appear. But that's the test. We need to write a code that should give us this output. Matt, do you know how this, can you explain how me guessing a BAN should give me a banana? Okay, maybe he's not around.
So it's so if you guess a letter, it should display all of that letter in the word. So if you guess N and it appears twice in the word, then it'll uncover, like in that first example.
Okay.
So since banana only has the 3 letters, 3 distinct letters, BAN, it will uncover the entire word.
Okay. So the same thing with A. If you guess A, it will uncover all the A's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we should write code that displays all that. And our current error is yeah. So I had written something. And here it is.
Yeah, sorry about that. I heard your answer. I question. I just couldn't. And it's good we have another experienced Hang Person player in the room. Thanks, Dan.
Hang Person Grandmaster.
Yeah. I don't know if you care, Faith, but you guest is spelled wrong. The guest letter, like, it's not a problem because you can spell it however you want. It's just a local variable, but there's 2 S's, but.
Okay. Thank you.
I guess so. Also, Faiz, this I guess this would probably really help you to see Faith going through this, because this will probably answer a lot of your questions that you had as far as like how RSpec works and all that kind of stuff. But it's basically like I said earlier. So she's getting failing tests, and which appear in red. And then she's working through, like, thinking about what can I do to implement the program, this method or whatever, to be able to give the results that the test expects. And then what I was going through earlier, sometimes you can just put something really simple that will pass one test, but then it won't meet the requirements for the other tests that you have. So that's why it's important to write like tests that are like, there's actually some tests here that I got passed as a student, for example, that actually don't test everything that they wanted to test, but they didn't write the test coverage to have it fail for people like me who just do the absolute minimum possible to get it to pass. So so then she'll go through getting greens and then look back and we have a talk and see if there's any way of refactoring it so it's shorter or drying it up or anything like that, you know.
Okay. So how I went about this was I want the answer to either be to return this, the first case, the second case, or the third case. And I had to go through each character in the word. So the word is...
Yeah, really nice. I got stuck on this for a while, actually. When we first started our weekend collaboration, I was like, how do I go through each letter?
I am so stuck in it.
So yeah, Faith has found this this amazing Ruby method, which maybe is clear to people what it does. Does anyone have a question about what this each char does? So I guess everyone at this point probably has done the Codecademy course. So you know that each is like a really powerful method in Ruby that will let you iterate through different data structures. So if you think of char as meaning character, you can probably imagine what it does.
Yeah, it's...
And I really, one thing that Faith does that I think is really amazing is that she's always coming here to the documentation and looking for methods that she can use that make her life easier instead of just trying to figure it out by herself, you know, which I think is a really good habit to get into.
So I want you to compare each character of a word with the letter that you've guessed. And if whatever you've guessed is in the required... So the first part is I want you to ask yourself if whatever you've guessed, the guessed letter is in the guesses. I want you to add, okay, I don't know what I'm talking, but I want you to add that letter in this variable answer.
Yep.
And then for anything else, I want you to add the dash, dash, dash based on what I saw in the test. And then eventually return this line 33, because this, I want the answer, I want whatever is in the answer variable to be returned out of this method. And I was hoping that was going to make all my tests pass, but it's working for one.
Right. So does the error make sense to you?
Yeah, let's make good. It's clear, but not really.
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting because you can see like when you guess B and N, it's just is displaying just adding the N's, and when you guess BAN as well, like if you look at expected B hyphen N hyphen N hyphen, and it's getting just the N's are added, and then if you look on the second one, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So for some reason, it seems to me at least that that like it's only taking the last letter of that of what you're passing in. Does that make sense?
The last letter.
Like what you're passing
Yes.
in the text.
Yeah, yeah. So it's taking this N.
Yeah.
And excluding B and A. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe that will help us to understand why.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions for Faith. I have a question if nobody else does. But Mike, you're kind of trying to wrap your head around the same problem. I think maybe for Faiz and Sess, of course, if you see something that you have questions about the logic or anything like that, like please feel free to help Faith out. But if you don't, then that's understandable because you haven't started wrapping your heads around this problem yet. Yeah.
I didn't want to look at what Faith is doing, so because I don't know just yet.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You have a problem with collaboration. Just kidding.
I have a problem with cheating.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess I don't know. I mean, what are you thinking, Faith? Do you want to try to walk me through what you think is happening, or how you would work through debugging this, or?
I think for some reason my logic is only returning the last step.
Well, maybe.
Or it's okay.
I mean,
yeah,
that's
that's
definitely possible. So
what if you check for since in Ruby we understand that strings are mutable, and so what if you search for the indices of where the characters are at, and then from those indices you can maybe put at every index. I don't know how to do it yet, but at every index that you find that a letter is at, you tend to yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a way of doing that, Mike. I mean, so when I get to because like, so Faith, you've written this whole method, and this method, like, you know, in your mind, and it should work because, like, logically what you're saying makes sense. But it's not working the way you think it should work. So in these cases, like, I just throw in a pry, you know, and just go verifying that what you're actually think you're asking is what you think you're asking. All right, yeah, if you want to use ByBug. So ByBug is another you know, is another tool you can use. All right, so what kind of questions can we ask this?
We could check out what our word is.
Yeah.
BANANA. It's bananas. Okay.
Enough.
What else can you ask it? So notice that you did ask, like, for the local variable word, but it doesn't matter, I guess, because anyways. But
which one? This.
Yep. Nice. What else?
I could go through line by line.
Yep, you could do that. There's still a couple variables that you haven't asked yet, but like yeah, go if that's. But oh, sorry, but yeah, you don't need to copy that that you were just copying because look where you are. You're on line 28 or line 27, right? So you're already inside of that iteration, right?
Okay.
So yeah, you could do that. That's weird. But yeah, there are still some variables that you don't know what they are in this iteration.
Okay.
Right?
Yep. But
and also this is a really good way of like for people who are not familiar with how we got to where we are. It's a good good way to kind of show them what all these variables are, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're at gases, right? You're at okay, cool. So you see here, like, yeah, and then just for fun, ask what guessed letter is. Okay, so you can see on line 28 the logic, like you're asking, is B included in N? Right?
Yeah.
But I think that in your mind, you're trying to ask a different question, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to ask in the guesses, not just a single character.
Sorry?
Yeah, I'm trying to ask if whatever letter I have guessed.
Uh-huh.
Wait. So guesses is the letters that I have guessed. And
Yep.
the guessed letter is the word that I'm expected to guess.
Yep.
Yeah. So I want you to see if what I've guessed is in the guesses, in the word that I'm expected to guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in this case, you're asking if it's in the guesses, which we did earlier when we were trying to answer the question of like not being able to re-guess the same letter. Like we don't want to be able to re-guess B multiple times. So then we would ask like, is B in the words I've guessed before? And then it's yes or no. Well, is it in the wrong guesses? Yes or no. But in this case, you're doing kind of similar to what you did earlier when you want to know is the guessed letter in the word, right?
Mm.
So how can you modify line 28 to reflect what the actual logic that you're trying to?
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I have no clue.
Can you repeat what you're trying to do? You're trying to check if what?
I'm trying to check if the letter I have guessed is in the word that I'm supposed to guess.
Exactly. And do you have a variable for the word that you're trying to guess?
Yes. Do I have a word? I should have one.
Yeah, you do. It's actually appropriately named.
Guessed letter.
No, that's
No,
the letter.
that's the word. That's the word I should be guessing.
Which one?
The guest letter.
No, the guest letter is
Of
the letter.
I'm good. Huh.
Agora, não sei, vou cortar. Mas ele cresce, lindo, parece que a parte cresce. É difícil. Nossa. Mas sei lá, vamos tentar, né? Falei que ia deixar você ter paciência, então. Ah, eu queria que ficasse no comprimento que você falou, nossa, cresceu, tá comprido. Cresceu.
So when you started the spybug session, what's the first question you asked?
The word
Yeah, and so and what's the word?
banana.
Yeah, cool. And how have you saved that in a variable? What's the variable you saved it in?
Word.
Yeah. So what happens if you copy line 28, but instead of asking if it's included in guesses, what if you ask if it's included in Word?
Okay.
Then Bybug will, right, because you're asking with that predicate method, will give you a true or false, right?
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So do you see? I don't know if you see what you're.
So it's not there.
Well, you're still checking the wrong thing, right? You're the way that reads, you're saying if word is included in the guesses, right? And what you're trying to ask is if the guessed letter is included in the word, right?
I'm confused. Repeat that again.
Yeah. So the statement you just asked, you asked, is the word included in the guesses?
Yeah.
And what you're trying to ask is is the guessed letter included in the word?
Okay. Yeah.
No,
Now
backwards.
you ask.
Like another way of reading it in English is like,
what did include guest letter?
What?
Sorry.
Should it be? She's trying to check if the word includes the guest letter.
Yes.
So
Yes.
should it be written the other way around, like word that include guest letter?
Guest letter include word. If word includes guest letter. True.
Yeah, so I guess there's two ways of reading it. You can say like, does the word include the guest letter? Which is maybe an easier way of thinking about it. Hey.
Yeah, you know.
Nice. So you can see that on line 28, if you put that, it's going to say, if the word includes the guest letter, then append the guest letter to the answer, right?
Yeah.
So that means it'll put a B, and then it'll go and it'll check the next letter. And if it doesn't include, then it'll put a space, hyphen, right?
Anything else?
So maybe try putting that in your code and running the test again and see what happens. Huh? You copied that. If hyphen, no.
Now I see your brain, Faith.
Nice.
So
That's interesting.
two are failing.
Ah, okay. I see what's happening.
I guess what's happening.
So I guess you may need to go back to Bybug, no?
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if anybody else sees what's happening, and but I mean, even if someone else does see what's happening, I think it's better for us to not rush it and just take our time and ask lots of questions in Bybug and try to understand exactly what's happening. So you're gonna have to you can ask questions right now if you want to, but you need to go through the cycle more than once to see what's happening.
Okay. So is there a next?
Yeah.
Oh,
There you go. Yeah. I mean, now you've dropped into the, okay, so now you're back to the line 27. So now ask the word is the same, right? The word's not going to change. So you can ask it every time if you want to, but it's not going to change until you get to a different word. So, but yeah, exactly. Yeah. That doesn't change.
Okay.
But where you're not using this guesses anywhere anymore. You were using that with that if add guesses, but now you're not using it anymore. But yeah, that you are using, right?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you want to go through each character in the word, and for each character in the word, you want to assign that character to the local variable guessed letter. So now, yeah, ask what the guessed letter is, or maybe try to guess what you think the guessed letter would be.
It will be B.
Well, the first time, right? But now you're on the second time.
Okay, so it should be A.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So I think if you go through that, like you'll realize that because you're assigning each character in the word to guessed letter, and then you're asking, does the word include the guessed letter? You're always gonna get a positive, and you're never gonna get a negative, right?
True. So it means line 26. I should be checking for the guesses, each character in the guesses.
Maybe. Can you go back to the RSpec? So where is the, no, I think it's a little bit higher up. Okay. Right. So the so okay. Can you? So there's a method that we haven't looked at together that you defined that's on line 101. It's guess several letters, or is that defined for you?
Just several letters.
That might be defined for you at the top, no? Or no? I think, yeah, I think that's at the top of this.
I don't have it.
I think it's actually at the top of the test case. I think that's defined for you.
Okay.
No.
This is the
One more
first
time.
one.
There we
Yeah.
go. There.
Essa daqui que é lá, eu começo a olhar de bicicleta e eu não consigo colocar ela pra cima. Tem que colocar pra cima antes, daí anda de bicicleta. Tá. Eu preciso olhar as fotos que tem. Não vai dar de vai vir. Vai ter que falar. Ah, não, vai ter que falar.
Faith,
Yes.
can you please open the tests? The tests. Where we were at.
Ai, que feito do esquema. Vou lá jogar na máquina, ver se ganha moeda.
That method gets several letters.
Mm-hmm. It's here.
It seems to. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of saw what you were doing, Mike. You were thinking that that's something that we actually need to define, which is something that I had to remind myself that you would have got a different error if that were the case, because on line 101, when you try to invoke it, if there was no method defined already, it would have said undefined method. And then, yeah, if you go looking for it, you realize that they defined that for us, so that we don't have to do that. But yeah, could you scroll back down to line 101? Okay, so what's happening is it's going to guess several letters. That's going to take in the game, which is banana, and that's going to take in guesses. So then it's going to expect the game dot word with guesses, which is what you defined, to equal displayed. Yeah, I mean, I would need to figure out exactly what's going on. I would need to ask more questions to Bybug. But I think that the thing you did, I think was good, that you're asking to go through each word in each character in the word.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense to me. And then each character is going to have a specific. Is going to be assigned to a local variable. Although I think that maybe this guest letter is a little bit confusing, because actually when you think about it, like you're at this when you're dealing with the word and you're iterating over the word, each character of the word, you're not dealing with any guesses at all right now. You're just dealing with individual characters of that word.
Yeah.
On line 26.
Yes.
So the fact that you put guessed letter makes it seems like that's the letter that the person has guessed, when in fact it's not, right? It's just the letter that's in the word. So now we're going to take each of those letters,
Mhm.
and we're going to compare that to each of the guesses, maybe. Although I feel like you did do that, and yeah, and I can immediately answer why when you ask at guesses, it's equal to just n, because that's not the first guess.
Is it because of this?
So
It could
yeah, I
be.
think you're.
Ah, yeah, there we go. Ah, you still have that. I told you it wasn't going to work, Faith. Ah,
Dan, you're saying something.
sorry. So, yeah, anyways.
I'm so lost.
Dan, were you saying something?
Yeah, never mind.
It's
Yeah,
I was
passing.
going to say something. I
Yeah.
don't think it was right. No.
I mean, you actually had the right answer at the beginning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's just because I'd forgotten about this. And you had warned us.
I did warn you. I mean, that's it's good, I guess.
Faith up. Okay.
Up.
Yeah, where you were checking stuff.
Where?
So I'm a bit confused about this method being defined in the test.
Okay. What's confusing about that? Like where it's placed? Like, why is it being defined in the test? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Okay. Letters that occurs do letter game. Guess. So in this case, game is like the guessed word, the word to be guessed against. Game is
So
like word, and letters is like the letters that have been guessed, right?
yeah, in fact, if you go down to the where that's called, yeah, so it's called here. Faith. Okay, it's called here. Not where it's defined. Sorry, where it's called. Yeah, cool. So you can see that it's passing in the
Game.
either one. It's passing in the instance variable game,
Mm-hmm.
and that instance variable is defined on line 51.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, yes, that's correct. It's passing in the word. So that word is passed to the guess several letters method,
Mm-hmm.
and the second parameter that's passed is a string with several letters.
Yes.
And then, Faith, if you go back to where the method is defined. So then it's going to go through each of the letters, each of the characters of the letter, right?
Yep.
And it's going to assign each character to an instance variable called letter.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to call the guess method on that word and pass in each letter one at a time.
Yep.
So then that's why it was getting confusing, is because we had the by bug in the wrong, not in the wrong place, but to try to figure out what was happening, we had it in the wrong place because we were being given, like, it was delivering to us the guesses with just one letter.
The last letter.
Yeah, exactly. So that, like, if you go to the guess method, then then we could have put in a binding pry in the guess method as well, or a a bybug in the guess method as well. And then that would have taken us through one by one, like, okay, it's passing in the letter. Do the guesses include the letter or wrong guesses? Does the word include the letter? You know? Then we would have seen that, okay, B is being passed in, and now guesses equals B. And then it would drop down into, you know, and then it would iterate through it again, and it would be like A. Okay, A is, you know, and then we would notice that it was, instead of appending to this to the string, it was changing the string.
Replacing it.
Does that make sense, Mike?
Yeah, it's grayish.
It's great.
Do you want to go, if you want, like, Faith can drop a bybug in that method, and we can stop it in that method as well.
Or do you want me to write an array?
Okay, I actually don't have the I don't have the method.
Yeah, I mean, why don't we look? Why don't you drive for a minute, Mike?
Actually, I've driven for close to an hour.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. We switch up drivers. So, Mike, go there and play. Let's play around with the code together.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I guess. Okay, maybe I should just explain what I thought first. The first time I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this. Yeah.
Hello, Lena.
Question, yeah. Matt. If I just tap on somebody's face, that's the focus that's on. That's the screen that's on focus.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. I had done the same thing, but yeah, it's better if you do it since you started it.
Okay, so what I did was that when I saw this method, I quickly thought that this was a method that I was to define within the class hang person game.
Yeah. So before you go on with that, I saw that you did that. Did you? So the first thing that you should that they're telling you that you should do, which is good practice, is to run the test first, right?
Yeah.
Because we're doing this in like a test-driven development, right? So we don't want to develop anything without like the test telling us, like driving us to develop it.
Yeah.
So did you run the test first, or did you just look at the test and try to figure out what to do by just looking at it?
Let me see where I have the test running here.
Yeah.
So the tests are running. Then they're saying.
So
undefined method what with guesses.
Yeah. Okay, so you did do that, and then you went back to then you went and looked at the tests, or?
So undefined method what with guesses. Maybe does that mean I should add that method here?
I don't know. What do you think?
Let me see. Game.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. I guess same time, 2 o'clock, or what? 2 o'clock my time. I don't know what time it is your time, but 4 p.m. UTC. I believe Dan has already created the games, and thank you for joining us.
And then.
Okay. Yep.
Where is this what with guesses thing?
So before you move on, so this is what
yeah.
Sorry, can you go back to the Adam? Okay. So do you see that when you ran the test, the instructions it gave you didn't say anything about line 101, which means that you don't, like line 102, it told you that there's no method word with guesses, right?
Yeah.
So that means that by definition, there has to be a guess several letters method already. So yeah, I'm not sure if you didn't. I mean, if you didn't run the test to start off with, that's okay. You know, like I'm just trying to understand where you like how you came to the conclusion that you needed to create a method guess several letters.
I think when I read this, when I saw word with guesses and this guess several letters, I don't know why I confused the two.
Okay, no worries. So yeah, you did like I said, you saw that, then you went back to the test and you saw that guess several letters, and you said, well, I don't have this guess several letters, and so you created a okay, no worries. So yeah, then you'll notice that it started complaining with word with guesses, and then now you've created the word with guesses method. And what was the output?
After I create the word with guesses, expect word with guesses to equal displayed. Expected B and N got nil. Okay. So yes, that makes sense.
Can you explain why for all of our thousands of listeners?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the tests we have these test cases, right? And then we are going through each test case, and for each test case we have, for example, we have Bn. When we have Bn, we expect that since we are dealing with banana, it will put B and N where the letters should be.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I guess my question was why you're getting nil as the output?
Because somehow in this method I should be implementing I should be doing the functionality to assign the letters where they're supposed to.
Yep. Yeah, like so an empty method is going to return nil, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
So if maybe I cheat and do what they're telling me that they need.
Yep.
Cheat and do that. Maybe this should pass.
Yeah. Cool. Exactly. And that works because you don't actually need to return that value because it's on the last line of the method, and whatever's in the last line is what will be returned, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. But whoever wrote these tests didn't want you to be able to cheat. Take more test cases.
Yeah, so he put more test cases. So
Yep.
this is where I think
it definitely could have been a she, Mike.
Oh.
So for this case we have the word and we have the cases.
So what I was when we switched over to your screen, what I was trying to get at so that all of us can understand better what's happening is can you go back to the game spec? So the first thing that happens is we don't get an error when we call guess several letters, because guess several letters is a method that does exist, and that is at the top of this, and it takes in two parameters. So, and that's at the top of this page. So can you scroll up to the top of the page? So you have this, and we kind of already talked about what that does, but you can see on line 8 that what that does is that calls the guess method. So if you were to run this test before you implemented that guess method that we did last week, then it would complain that it would fail on that line 101 because it wouldn't. But since you've done such a great job of implementing the guess method, it will call that method and do what it's supposed to do. So one idea, so we because you said it was a little bit gray, trying to understand what was happening, is go there to the hang person game and drop in the buy bug there somewhere. No, sorry, not there in the guess method. Because before we get to the word with guesses, we're going to call two other methods. We're going to call the guess several letters method, and the guess several letters method is going to call the guess letter, right? It's going to call the guess method.
Yeah.
So now maybe run just that test so that you can isolate it and not run all the tests. So yeah, exit out of that. Otherwise, it's gonna take you a long time to get to where you want to get.
How exit?
Just Control C, because if you say exit, you're gonna have to exit 20 times, because that's gonna be invoked every time you call that guess method. So you want to do our yeah. Thank you. So the method start the RSpec that you want to call starts on line 10 something. I don't know. Can you go there to the hang person game?
Okay. So I get rid of this guy.
Yeah, just keep that there. No.
I keep the buy bug here.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the right place. Yeah. So now go to the hang person game spec and now scroll down to see what line that so it's on line 10 no. Yeah, but you need to tell RSpec the first line of where the test starts. So where does that test start?
This.
Yep. So then you go back and do RSpec spec / hang person game spec .rb :89.
Oh, okay. What's happening? This guy has hung.
So you do the up on your cursor, and then before you hit enter, add the :89.
RSpec.
Yeah. Can you just put the up arrow?
This guy, I think, is confused.
What guy? Sorry.
Yeah. I think it's
okay. You can type it again.
Even typing, I think it's
it's frozen.
MacBook error.
Yeah.
But what's funny? Oh, it was typing. Apparently, what's wrong with this guy?
Not sure. You could try opening another terminal window.
Okay.
Command not found. Okay, so that. Yeah. Can you try doing it now?
Command T. Okay. RSpec.
RSpec. Yeah.
Spec 1%.
Yep. And don't hit enter. Yeah.
What was the line?
87.
9.
Yeah. All right. So you see now it stopped, right?
Yeah.
So now ask your questions.
So my questions for this, I need to know if okay. Game is near.
So
yeah, because this is declared in the, okay, maybe I should go back here. And letter and word.
yeah, cool. So the first letter is B, right?
Yeah.
Word is banana. Yep.
Yep.
And then what other variables do you have in that guess method that you could ask? So you could say letter nil, but you already said letter and it gave you a B, so you know it's not nil.
Yeah.
Letter empty, you already know that the letter's not empty. You're
Yep.
also missing a space between the after the or operator and the letter dot empty. But and then yeah, you could ask it letter dot match and see if it matches something that's not a letter, but you know that it is a letter. So you're pretty sure that it's not going to raise an argument error, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. But then you come down to line 22 and it says wrong guesses. So you could ask what wrong guesses is, for example.
Okay.
A to Z, A, B, C, D. And yep. Then you can ask guesses, right? Okay, so then you can, you can't ask if you want, but you could probably answer the question yourself, like, is B included in an empty string? No. Is B included in an empty string? No. Okay, so then it's going to go to line 23,
Yeah.
and then it's going to say, is B included in the word?
Yeah.
Yep.
73 would include letter B, and then yes, then
Yep.
to.
So then what you can do is since you're stuck on line 19, so
Yeah.
that's why when you ask guesses is going to be an empty string. But what you can do is you can say, okay, so B is included in banana. So then what do I do if B is included in banana? Well, I've told the program to append that letter to the guesses. So you could do that in ByBug if you want, or if you want, you can just hit exit, and then it will go back to the guess several letters method.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then the guess several letters method will invoke should invoke the. That's interesting. So I think we weren't where we thought we were. I think maybe, yeah, I don't know. So why weren't we? No, can you go back to the hang person game spec? Because we got a passing test. So that guess several letters method or the guess method is being called somewhere.
Guess method. It's called up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's called by this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but then it should call it more than once, right? Because the whole idea of the guess several letters method is that it'll call the guess method more than one time.
Yes.
So I think maybe because, sorry, can you go down to line 89? So interesting. So displayed word with guesses. I think this displayed word with guesses is nested inside of before each block. That I'm not sure.
Describe distributed basis do before each do.
Yeah, it initiates.
And test cases dot each pair. Display. Then get several letters. Equal display. So this, at this point, it calls this guy.
So I think that if you go to line 89, can you see what where that starts? That describe block. It starts like no. Put your cursor on the beginning of the D.
Yeah.
For describe. Yeah. So that starts on what line? On line 3, or not on line 3? On position 3. And then can you go up to describe guessing? Okay. Yeah, describe guessing starts on 3 as well. Yeah, so it's not nested inside that.
Yeah.
So instead of telling it to start on line 89, can you still tell it to start on line 99 maybe? Not sure. I don't think so, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can only tell it to start on the one example, 0 failures. Oh, that didn't work. Okay. So Mike, you still there?
Yes. Yes, I'm here. Huh?
Are you thinking? Or
Yeah, I was just trying to. So how does this buybag thing work? How does?
So buybag works the same as pry, right? So when it's invoked, like when this method anytime this guess method is invoked, it's going to stop at line 19.
Mm.
And then anything before line 19, you have access to. So you have an example.
So if I do, like I remember the last time you asked me to exit.
Yep. Yeah. So that's
exit would mean that another iteration will be run, right?
Should be, yeah. But not necessarily. Like it depends where you are. So like before you, I mean, what I always try to do is before I exit out of it, like I try to check, just do some basic checks for like sanity purposes. So I'll ask like, what is letter in this case? Oh, letter is B. Okay, cool. So what is, I don't know. And now, okay, so letters B. And then you can say what is word, for example, what a guess is, what a wrong guess, everything you just did, although you don't have to do that every time, if you feel like but sometimes you feel like you know what the answer is, and then you actually don't know what the answer is, right?
Yeah.
So and then at some point exit out of that and see if it goes to the next.
When I exit it exits completely.
Yeah, it exits completely. So I'm not sure exactly why that's happening.
Is it because my buybag is but this is called during each and every iteration.
Mm.
Yeah. Buybag.
I mean, yeah, go back to the in-person game spec. So You should be getting it should go with B and then it should guess N, right? Because that's what's on line 95.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to the top where guess several letters is, and you can put in a bybug there as well, and then you can try running the test on starting on line 89 again and see
Okay.
if it even stops at this one. So if it doesn't stop here, then that means that you can leave it there as well. You don't have to. You can have more than one bybug statement.
Okay. Just to be sure which one is.
Well, yeah, you can. It will tell you where it stops.
Oh, okay.
Like you can see there, it told you that it stopped on line 8, on line 9. Also, I don't know if it works with bybug, but in Pry you can say where am I, and then it'll tell you. Like if you write where and then am I, no spaces. No, okay. So Pry has where am I, but anyways, so that definitely is calling that guess several letters, and then you can go checking.
Okay.
No, don't exit because you want to know information. That's why you stopped it here, right?
Yeah. So maybe I should check Lera. That's not
Yeah.
here. Oh, it's here.
Yeah, it's on line 7, right?
Yeah. And then
Okay, so what about letters? Okay, so you do have 2 letters, right?
Yeah.
And then also you have game. You can ask it as well. Yeah, so you have word is banana, and you actually the same exact thing that's happening on line 9. You can invoke from bybug.
Okay.
So you don't need to exit. You can say game.guess and then pass in the letter, and then you can see if it's working the way we think it's working. Then it should come back to this because it still has one more letter, right? It still has the N letter. Okay. And yeah, it didn't call the guess method, or it did and it came back through. So ask what the letter is again before you run that again. No.
Okay.
Ask what the letter is.
Where is B?
Letters.
It'll be, yeah. So that's interesting.
Letters.
Okay, you want to ask what Lera is?
So that's the same.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it seems like it's not actually calling the guess method for some reason. Yeah, so at this point, exit and see if it comes back.
Nope.
It does. So there's something wrong. And it's giving you 1 example and 0 failures. So can you remove the bybug from everywhere and just run that test starting on line 89 again and see?
I had it here.
Yeah, just there. So this, yeah, right. So are there any passing tests?
Yeah.
Where?
Other tests, but this.
No, I'm talking about when you just ran this. Are there any passing tests? Can you scroll up to see? No. There are not any passing tests. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but wait a minute. Can you go? I mean, yeah, not sure. I'm gonna come here as well because.
Should I focus on your screen?
I don't know. I was thinking maybe just do it in the background because I mean this is not it's not that important to be to what you need to do, I guess, because it's not part of like the homework assignment. I was just trying to show exactly what was happening, but for some reason there's something interfering with that. So I'm not sure. If Mike, do you want to just go implementing the
stuff?
Oh, maybe you can go ahead with what Faith is doing. Then I'll try figure this out later on.
We could just debug.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy either way. But I mean, I think that it seems like you're only using, I don't know, like what your guys' time is like, but it seems like just moving forward with this during these sessions. So I don't know how many weeks we're going to stay on week, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think like if you think about it, if it takes us 5 weeks to get through week 2, then it, you know, it's going to be, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's up to you. I don't have a. But irregardless of like, I mean, I can try to have some debugging to get it to work the way I think it should be working, and you can go doing the homework maybe because you've kind of already seen the implementation, although I don't think you remember off the top of your head, so it's like you're not going to be kind of quote unquote cheating. You're just going to be implementing it again. So, and that will maybe help us to. And when I actually get it, when I actually have something to show you, I can show you.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's up to you. I don't care either way. I mean, I have Pry, so I'm kind of cool, you know. Pry will probably just work. Then we'll have another example of why you should be using Pry.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it seems like something simple that we're missing, but it's gonna annoy me until we figure it out. But it's not part of the actual homework, so. And Eric. And so that's the thing as well, is that I might have other errors that I need to work through that have nothing to do with the homework. So and how are you, Daniel?
I'm just kind of watching along.
Yeah. Is it interesting what we're doing, or is it kind of annoying? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is interesting. When in the last session, and I was actually doing the coding, I noticed it was very different than when I'm like just sitting thinking about it all by myself, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think like I think Faith could probably test that as well. Like it sometimes when you're like the one in the, you know, quote unquote spotlight, you can be, you know, maybe feel a little like I don't know. Sometimes I feel a little stupid. Like, you know, this should be simple, you know. And how come it's not working the way I thought it should work, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Because
then it's like, sorry.
It's like just trying to figure out how Pry works. I feel like if I wasn't in the spotlight, I'd be able to like figure out what it, you know, what part in the code it's jumping to. But when it is on me, it's like I can't think about, you know, as effectively.
I can definitely relate to that. You know, I have said that before, and I think Sam kind of took a little bit of exception to it. Like, you know, that, you know, there's no need to feel like that. Like, you know, even doesn't matter how long you've been coding. Sometimes you make assumptions about how it should work, you know, quote unquote, but then it doesn't work how it should, and then it's like, so yeah.
I think that's the good thing about pairing is it's like getting practice in doing this way of being able to work on code and explain it at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And like I have here, so I was just running into an issue because I have two different, I've cloned two different, I've cloned two different homework Sinatra SAS hang persons because I've been helping out with the stuff, and so I'm there like getting this error running bundle and like trying to understand why, and then just realized I was in the wrong directory. So that happens as well. So all right.
So unless case is getting cleared.
Just like just to talk in the background, like so I like one of the things I did was like that you can use binding pry or you know, if you prefer using bybug for some reason, like what I did is that I'm like, you can use it to check assumptions of like, so I think that it should be stopping, and if it doesn't stop, it means that it's not being called in the way that I think it's being called. So and that's what's happening. Like, it should be stopping in this here in this test case. You know, it's running the tests without stopping for some reason. I don't understand why. That at least gives me more information about.
So does that mean it's not going into that method or wherever you called binding.pry, or?
It does, yeah. So then, so it's not stopping there. It's not stopping there. But it is like running the right test, because it is like, you know, it's actually telling me should be BNN, should be this, should be that, and it's and they're all passing. So it's really weird, and it's not going to the guess it's not going into this guess several letters either method. So that method's not even being called. So I'm not sure how it's passing without having called that. Yeah, and Faith, if you want to check out my answer, feel free.
Are you sharing a screen, Matt?
Am I not? Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Thank you. I wasn't trying to be purposely secretive. I was forgot to share. So this is what mine looks like. Faith, I don't know, Mike, if you want to look, you know, or not. So I came to this because of RuboCop. So that's it's a good thing to use when after you've got the answers. Like, but I do notice that there are some things here that I want to change. Like, you know, especially having paired with Rider since then. Like,
Your life has never been the same again.
so you can actually like have. So I gave it a I said displayed because that's what it was saying that it should equal, you know, as displayed. And then you can append to it on a conditional basis. You can do this with assignment as well. So you can say like displayed equals and then if blah 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 this else this, you know, and then yeah, like same thing like you did there. But the bigger problem, the bigger issue is why. So when you dropped it in there, it was stopping for you. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That's a different thing. Why did that come up? All right. What is going on with my life?
Tell us.
I don't know. It's not. I'm not trying to hide it from you. I just honestly don't know. Right. So, I even you know what I'm doing? I'm so stupid. It's all right. So. So this is a chance for me to be embarrassed. So I was still in the old repo. Now I'm in the new repo, and I've opened that up. And now if I try to get the binding.pry to stop, it probably will since I'm in the right repo. Does that make sense? Yes. No. Yes. Makes sense. No. And then undefined method pry. What? I don't have pry. Pry. I need to require it. Oh, this is the wrong. Sorry, wrong gem file. Where here? Gem file. Come on, I don't have pry. That's embarrassing. And I'm gonna put a pry by bug as well, just to. Oh, that's not going to work either. I need to bundle first. Cool. And then if I invoke it, and find method pry. Right. So I need to also to require pry, probably. Require pry. There we go. Jeez, that was difficult. And so mine stopped again. Mike. But now, if you want, do you want to look at my screen?
Yep.
I don't know if you are ready. Sorry, let me just. I'm gonna pop in a pry statement here as well. So yeah, I told you that you guys have helped me to want to refactor my code as well. So don't judge me. But this here is not really very good because I have 2 raise argument errors for no apparent reason. And also, like I told you, I did the absolute minimum to get the test to pass. So I think that's not necessarily bad because we need to improve the test coverage, but it's way better the way you guys have done it. So I will refactor that at some point. But yeah, anyways, so I've dropped in a pry here as well. And also I think we counted and this is longer than the way you guys did it. And I can't see any reason why you're going to get in trouble later. So I think that'd be better to refactor as well, because then you don't have to have 2 and less statements. And also you don't actually need to return it because, yeah. So anyways, I like the way you guys did it better, which is one really cool thing about doing things with other people is that they have different logic, and that helps you to understand your code better. All right, cool. So we stopped here, and then we have letter, which is B, and then we have letters, which is BN, right? We have game is with the game dot word
Matt,
is banana, right?
can you clear the? We are hiding it.
Hiding what?
We were like the, how do I call them? The icons.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. So I was just asking some basic questions, see where I am. So I said one of the cool things about Pry that ByBug doesn't have is it has this where am I. So you can see here that because I cleared it, I don't know where I am. So then I just say where am I, and this helps out a lot when you're working on real projects. Like if you stop it, if you invoke it by playing with the browser, then it will stop in the terminal. And then there might be a lot of information on the screen and you can't see where you are. So yeah, anyways, I can say where am I, and it'll tell me where I am. And then I can say continue, for example, and then it will stop again. So you can see, Mike, it will tell you where you are when it stops. So you can have multiple Pry statements, and it's not you won't get confused, because again, you can, if I clear this and I say, oh, where am I? Then it will tell me where I am. So now I'm here. And so because I put the binding Pry after the raise argument errors, then that means that I know that the letter's not nil, the letter's not empty, and the letter doesn't involve a percentage sign, which again is bothering me. So I will refactor that. And then if I say word, I have banana, right? If I say letter, I have B. And then I can ask things like what? Oh yeah, guesses dot include letter, and then that's false. Okay, so the guesses don't include letter, and wrong guesses. Wrong guesses dot include letter, and that's false. Yep. And then I say, does the word include? Yeah, I guess I probably should ask that first, because that's the first thing that comes. And I said, does the word include the letter? Yes. All right. So the word includes the letter. So that means that I'm going to, if the word includes the letter, then I'm going to append the letter to the guesses, right? If I'm going too fast, just let me know. So what happened was that the way that Faith had left it to test our theory, what she said, instead of appending the letter, I want the guesses to equal the letter, right? So I say guesses equals letter, and then I'm going to continue, right? So I'm not sure why ByBug didn't do this for you, because I don't feel like I've done anything different than what you were trying to do, and we were kind of spending a lot of time trying to figure out why ByBug wasn't stopping. Whereas you can see that it has stopped in Pry. So now if I ask letter, then it'll say N. So it's gone to the next letter. Letters are still being N. Word doesn't exist, because I need to say game.word, and that's banana, right? So then I continue here because I asked everything I wanted to ask, and now I can say word dot include letter, and it's going to say true. So then I'm going to say at guesses equals letter, and then I'm going to say at guesses, and then it's going to be the N, right? So this is what we were getting with Faith. So if we had struggled on longer trying to figure out what was going on, one of the things we could have done is you drop in a binding.pry here to test the other methods that are being called by that test. So the test was calling that guess several letters method. So we dropped in a binding.pry there. And then we dropped in a binding.pry here because the guess several letters is calling our guess method. And then we can go there and check the logic in our guess method to see what's going on, you know? So instead of equaling, if I say guesses dot append letter, for example, then it's equal to, and I already said guesses equal, so now it's equal to NN. But if I had done that before I assigned I can do it. I can say at guesses and then append equals, sorry, I'll say equals B, which was the first guess. And then I can say at guesses append and letter, and then I have B and N, right? So that's interesting. Why do I have B and N? Letter. Oh, letter is equal to NN now for some reason. That's interesting. Yeah, but anyways, any questions about that, Mike? Is that clearer now? You said it was a little gray earlier.
Yeah, it's clear.
So then, you know, now it's gone through the first test case, and now it's going back through the same, going back through here. So it's gone through, where are we? We're on 90. So starting on 90, before each, you're going to create the new, which is not going to affect us because we only have one it block. So then it's going to set up this test cases to equal, to be, you know, this instance variable. Then it's going to go through each pair of the instance variable, and it's going to it's going to assign this local variable guesses to the key, and it's going to assign displayed to the displayed, and then it's going to drop in here, and it's going to call this guess several letters, which we just went through one time, and then it's going to expect that the game when you call this method word with guesses is going to be equal to the you know, we didn't see it stop here because I didn't actually add a I didn't add a binding pry to my guesses with words. But if I had put a binding pry here again, we could watch it go through this whole step, you know, and then it would go through again and start with this here. Right, because
you have not finished your
Sorry. So let's see, you have here DEF. So you can see that it's on this.
Matt.
Yep.
Where you are changing a C2 letter in your.
Why am I changing what?
See, there's that place you're doing the refactor in your method. That.
Yeah, actually, letter. Yeah, letter's okay. I was changing it because it's not so clear to people who are reading it what it is. Like, I guess when I did this, I thought that it was, you know, like you can use whatever you want here, you know, like you saw that C works exactly the same as putting letter, but since then I've come to realize that it's, you know, better for you to be for it to have a couple more characters and for it to be clear what you're actually trying to do. Like earlier when I was talking to Faith and I was explaining, like she had guest letter here. And that's confusing. Like that confused me, for example, because when I was looking at it, I was thinking that this actually here was whatever letter the person was guessing, and that's not actually correct. You know, if you look at this, like we're taking the word and we're going through each character of the word, and then we're assigning a local variable, and that local variable, you know, can be anything. But if it is something that makes sense, then it's easier for other developers when they're looking at your code to understand what's happening. So in this case, like, you know, you could call it letter or maybe more appropriately character. I think that's why I had a C, because actually you're calling this method each character, meaning, you know, that you're going to iterate over each character, and then for each character you're going to give it a local you're going to assign it to a local variable called character, and then you're going to check your guesses, which is going to change during your guess method here. You know, if there's the guess there, then it's gonna append the letter, or if the letter is included in the guess, then it's gonna append the letter to the guesses. If not, then it's gonna append the wrong guesses. And then when you ask like this here, like, is the, you know, if if this is an empty string, for example, because the letter was not part of the guesses, then the character is not going to be included in the guesses. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the interesting thing is how the instance variable is used.
Which one?
At your screen, Matt.
Sorry. Was that
Yeah,
confusing?
the word
I'm supposed to have another pairing session either now or a little bit later, and I realized that I was going to respond to it earlier, and so yeah, so I can put in another binding.pry here, right? And then we can. Is that what you're saying? Is that you would like to see what's happening there?
I was saying I did not know how you could use that instance variable. Of course it makes sense, but I was not going to think through it that way.
No, I mean it can make sense, but it's always it's still good to use the tools that we have available to just double check what we think we already know, because maybe we are understanding it in a way that's not actually correct, or maybe we are understanding it, but it's nice to see it visually, you know. Like, I mean, just what we were doing, like I was 100% sure that it was going to stop at that thing more than once, and it didn't, you know. And then it was like, so what's wrong, you know? And I don't know why ByBug was not actually behaving in the way that I was expecting it to behave. And I definitely recommend using binding.pry. But anyways, not to push my own agenda or anything, but it can drive you crazy sometimes. You're like, no, this definitely should work, like, you know, and it doesn't work. And then you need to try to figure out why. So anyways, so the point is that, so now we're going to get past this. We're going to get past this that we already went through looking at. But just remember that, so what's going to happen is it's going to call this method. It's going to pass in this word here, or this game, which is not just the word, right? But does include this word, right? And also we're calling .new, right? So that's why it's going to include this word. It's also going to include the guesses and wrong guesses. If I cleared the screen, but if I show you here, where did I ask? I asked this somewhere. Okay, I think it was further down. Yeah, so for example, I said word, and it was like, oh, undefined local memory, I said word. And then I said game.word, and it gave me the word, right? But before I did that, I just said game, and it gave me back the instance of the hang person game. Where did I ask that? Somewhere. I don't want to go back and ask again, because it's going to take time. Where is it? Game.word, yeah. Before that. Here, right? So if I say game, right, which, going back to here to remind all of us what that is. So here that I'm calling it, I'm saying at game, right? And I'm passing that in as the first parameter to the guess several letters method. But then if I come up here and I look at the guess several letters method, the argument that it takes is going to be, the first argument is going to be game. So when I stopped it here in online in between line 7 and 8, I would have access to it like this as game. And when I hate when I do that, when I say game, it's going to be the object, the instance of the object, right? Which is going to have the guesses instance variable, which is going to be empty, and it's also going to have the word, which is going to be banana, which is also, and it's also going to have the wrong guesses, which is going to be empty, right? So if I say game.word, which is going to invoke the method word that is being created by the getters and setters of the from here, right? Attribute accessor is going to give me the getter and setter for word guesses and wrong guesses. then that's going to give me game.word is going to give me just what I wanted in this case, which is the word, right? So anyways, we've worked through how that works, that it's going to call this method here, guess several letters, which is going to call the guess method, and it's going to keep calling the guess method for every character in the letters that are being passed in. So in the first case, it was B and N. In the second case, it's D, E, F, right? So it's going to call it 3 times. In the third case, it's going to call it 3 times as well, right? Because it's B-A-N. But if I wanted to pass in B-A-N-A-N-A-A, whatever, it's bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-A, it'll call it 5 times or 6 times, right? So then after it calls it 6 times, it's going to come to this expect, right? And during this expect, it's going to call the method word with guesses, right? So now that's where we're going to start off from, because that's where I've put the binding.pry, right? We're going to start off from the place where we already have guesses, right? We already have guesses. And we already have wrong guesses as well. So let's see what happens. Did I already invoke it? No, I didn't. Exit out of this. Exit out, exit out, exit out, exit out. Oh my goodness, what's happening? Okay, so then I call the method again. Right, so you can see, if I say, you can already see, but for some reason, if I can't see, you know, like for example, if I clear and I say, where am I? Now you can see that I'm here. Well, it says I'm here for some reason. But anyways, so then if I say at guesses, I have my 2 guesses, B and N, because remember, this is the first time that I've gone through. And so this is different than what Faith had, right?
Yep.
So then I have, for example, at wrong guesses, and that's empty, right?
Yeah.
And that makes sense, right? Because B and N, there's no wrong guesses in B and N, right? So now that kind of confirms to me that my guess method is working maybe the way it should, at least for the use case that I'm passing in. And so I have at displayed, which is an empty string as well. So I don't remember what questions I need to ask. So I'm going to say, where am I? And then, so I know what at displayed is. And what about word? I can just ask word. I learned as well. I don't know why. That's annoying me because, but anyways, I think it's because it's part of the class game. I don't know. So yeah, let's see. Like, I don't know. Is there any question? Mike, what questions do you want to know?
What's the time?
What's the time? It's 4:07. I don't know if I can ask that here. Can I ask date? Undefined method date. What about date dot now? No, I can do time dot now. So it is 16:07 and 52 seconds. So I can say character, for example, because that's so right. Actually, before I get to that, so we have at word, right?
Yeah.
Or I could just say word, but anyways, I said at word, and I say at word dot each character, and then I say do. No, and I'm not going to do. I'm going to put in a block because I'm going to do it in line, and I'm going to give that character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to say print the character, right? So that's a good way for you to try to figure out what's happening. I use that all the time, you know? So that's going to print out each of the characters. So you can see here that I go through the word, which is banana, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for each character, I'm going to assign it a local variable character, and then I'm going to print the local variable character, right? So then you can see that, hopefully you can see the output here is a string B, and then it's going to go through a second time. Actually, don't take my word for it. Let's drop in a binding.pry. So binding.pry. And let's hit that again, and it didn't stop for some reason. Why didn't it stop? Require. Pry. And it still didn't stop. Urgh! That should work. Why isn't that working?
Now I get where I was being confused early on. I think I had this fixed mindset that the thing should work from the guesses to the word. Like we should be checking what the guesses are, what the guessed words are in the word. But this the method over there, I think I think now we have the guesses and the words, so we can check if each element is in each character is within the guessed words.
Oh, you said earlier about using the index. So you were on to the right thing, because you understood that we need to see, like, so you're thinking like, okay, the person guesses a B, right? Well, we need to know all of the indexes where the B resides, and we need to put that B in all of those indexes, right?
Yeah.
So that's correct, actually. I think this might work. Although maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. No, it didn't work. So there is a method that's like each string each with index method Ruby. String each character. No, I don't know. Each entry, maybe. Each with index. Can I do that with the string? Each with index. No. Undefined method, each with index for banana string. Okay, so what if I say dot methods dot sort? But anyways, I mean, I think you could, each byte, each line, each code point. There potentially is a way you could do it the way you were talking about, Mike, but in the case, like if we go back to how we've implemented it, we're going to take each character individually, and we're going to check if the guesses include that character.
Yeah.
And if the guesses do include that character, then we're going to because we're gonna be remember, we're gonna be returning the displayed, in this case, or what Faith called answer, right? So it starts off with an empty string, and that way we can actually we know that we want a hyphen where it's not part of the. So yeah, we can put, like, if it's a B, we can put the B. If the first character is not a B, then we put a hyphen.
Yes, it makes sense. It's clear.
Yeah, I think it's clear once you kind of figure it out. But I think
okay.
You might have actually been there, Mike, when I was with Peter and we were trying to work through this. I'm not sure if it was you. It might have been no, maybe it was anyways. It took me a minute to actually figure out that we could use this each character. So yeah, it's definitely makes a lot more sense to me now than it did, a couple months ago.
Yeah. And yeah.
So I don't know, maybe that's a good place to wrap up since we went over the 2 hour. hour mark again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy to make it to us. We must admit.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys are feeling about how we're going, the pace we're going. Like, I mean, for me, it doesn't really matter if it takes us 6 months to get through it. Whatever, that's fine with me. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, like, I guess it's dependent on how much, because I guess like we're not prioritizing moving quickly through the course. We're prioritizing like trying to really drop in a lot of price statements and trying to understand. So I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I think it's better to kind of master the content over, but at the same time, I guess we want to try and keep up with the course. But
yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we started this before the current iteration even started, and like I guess it depends a lot on how much time people have during the week to be able to work on things. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know the answer, to be honest, because I mean, I think it is a good idea for people to try to have a look at what the homework's asking you to do and try to have a go at trying to solve it by yourself can be helpful. I mean, I really try to not just give the answers out like during the weekend collaboration, even if that means that we spend the whole time.
I like your t-shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Coffee, Wi-Fi, and Flynn. Flynn's like is a company here. So yeah, I mean, I don't think we're giving the answers out or anything, but I think it's still helpful to be able to try to work through things by yourself, and then Faith is back. And then, you know, if you get stuck, then there's always other people here that can try to ask questions to get you through the thing, you know.
Yeah, actually during the week I tried going through this problem and I couldn't work my head around it. And yeah, here you could notice that I struggled with it a bit also today. So yeah, I think it's rushing through it and us not maybe understanding what's going on. So just to rush it out is not. Yeah, I like how we are doing it. Like we're prioritizing on having binding.pry and Bybug failing us or helping us out, and
yeah,
just to figure out things that are going on. And yeah, I think that way it's better.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also as well, like the whole idea of how we're doing it here with like, you know, dropping in the binding.pry and stuff like that is also to you know, to give an example of how you can do things as well, like when you're by yourself, you know, because like there's no information I don't think that I can give you that Pry is not going to be able to give you. Like I think Pry is going to know a lot better what's actually happening in your code than I do, because, you know, I mean, we got stuck at the beginning of this for a little while trying to figure out, and I was like, you know, kind of suggesting Faith make changes to what she was, how she had implemented it, and actually she had implemented it perfectly okay, you know. I mean, well, that method, you know, and that turned out not to be the problem in the first place, you know. Whereas like binding.pry or Bybugs, you know, it's never going to lie to you. Like if you ask what the letter is and tells you, or the guesses is, and it tells you the guesses is N, then that means that there's you know, and you think it should be BN, then that means there's something wrong with how you're assigning the value to guesses. You know, there's no, like, the computer is very rarely wrong. It's mostly our logic that is flawed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I picked something today, and it's nice. It's nice. There's the other session that's being run by Daniel, the week 1 stuff. So it's really nice to start on with the week 1 and continue with the week 2 stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, we can have like a review time too, but we might. I'm gonna see what Faiz wants to do tomorrow, if he wants to hang on, and so that we can just finish out week, like the homework 1 tomorrow. So we might just keep that session ongoing during this session. So
Yeah,
just
I mean,
depending on what he feels.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, yeah, if you don't mind just letting us know, just, I mean, you don't have to check in with us, but I think that's maybe that's a good idea, because not that you're not getting anything out of watching us struggling through week 2, but if you feel like you could get caught up to us, then maybe, you know, you can actually be a driver on week 2 as well, and then, you know, you're actually getting your hands dirty as well. But like, yeah, see how you go, and if you're running a concurrent session and you have questions, you can ping me on Slack, and I can hopefully will be in a place where I can actually have a look at the problem or something. But yeah. Okay. The other thing, so I guess I'll see you all tomorrow. The other thing is that next week I'm not going to be available to join, like run or like start or join the either one of the study groups, which is really sad. They're going to be the first weekend that I'm not going to be joining.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a quick vacation to
vacation.
All right, that's not sad.
No, I mean, yeah, it's good. Like, it's the first. I was talking to my wife today, and I was like, "When was the last time that we went away for the weekend, even?" And she was like, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So yeah, it's time to do a little traveling. And yeah, I mean, I guess I'll be curious to talk to you guys and see how things go. But yeah, just, you know.
Just make sure you don't have your Slack on. You don't have your.
No, I think I will bring my computer, but I'm gonna be in the kind of in the mountains, so I don't think I'll even have Wi-Fi. I'm gonna try to do some hiking, and it's really cold where I'm gonna be going, so gonna enjoy the cold and sit by the fireplace and cuddle with my wife.
Okay.
Yeah, gonna be good. But yeah, anyways, I'll see everyone tomorrow. Like I said, I'll have to let you know if I'm gonna be able to make the earlier session tomorrow on Slack. Dan, and yeah.
Okay.
Faith, since you started things, you wanna end things for us, or?
Okay.